We don't want to be Ramadani Muslims. We want to be Muslims throughout the entire year.
How does one escape the whispering of the Shaytaan that draws you away from memorizing the Qur'an and makes you change your intentions for the goods of this world?
They really fanboy somebody, okay, his voice, oh, your voice is so, and they big you up in a way that does not help your intention and heart. And then what happens? You start to believe this stuff and you start to be like, I want to lead. And people start pushing you onto platforms when you are not ready for the platforms. And that delays you in your progress and in your core goal of memorizing the Qur'an and the reason for memorizing Qur'an. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursaleen Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man tabi'ahum bi ihsanin ila yawmiddin amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu, my beloved and dear brothers and sisters, and welcome to a new episode of Reverses. Now after the blessed month of Ramadan, that I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us of those that have been accepted in Ramadan, and to make us of those that are inshallah going to be steadfast bi'idhnillahi Azza wa Jal in our worship and in our ibadah after the blessed month of Ramadan. Allahumma ameen. Inshallah ta'ala, as normal, we're going to have bi'idhnillah a caller or multiple of callers if possible maybe that have questions inshallah Azza wa Jal that we would like to inshallah ta'ala reflect on, take some benefit from, and share some reminders that will benefit ourselves and you inshallah ta'ala. And then towards the end of the episode we will have a Hifz or Hafizah that will share with us their journey of memorization. We could take some tips and lessons from their journey and see inshallah ta'ala what can be something you can take inshallah ta'ala on board in your journey of completion of Qur'an, or to start it bi'idhnillah, or any tips that you may need if you have already completed the Qur'an inshallah ta'ala. And I believe we have a caller with us on the line. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Ahlan wa sahlan. I think it's brother Rayyan we have online, is it?
Na'am.
Hayyakumullah. How are you, my brother Rayyan?
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. How are you, Sheikh?
Alhamdulillah, I'm very well. Jazakallahu khairan wa barakallahu feekum. And where are you calling us from?
USA. Alhamdulillah.
USA, mashallah. Which state specifically?
California.
California, mashallah. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum ya akhi al-habib. And how can I help you today? What's your question for us, inshallah? Fire away.
I had a two-part question about revision, inshallah. I wanted to ask that if I allot a certain amount of time per day for revision, what should that session look like for revision? You know, what would you recommend to do in that specifically, like techniques for revision?
Can you repeat the beginning of the question? I didn't hear the beginning of your question, brother.
If I allot a certain time per day for revision, like say, for example, each day I'm going to revise for 1 hour, in that 1 hour, what exactly should I be doing? And then the second part of the question is that, is there an amount relative to how much someone has memorized that they should be revising each day, a specific amount?
طيب, so can I ask you a question, Akhi Rayyan? Have you memorized the Quran yet?
Alhamdulillah, I'm in the process, just recently starting. I have about a juz and a half, alhamdulillah.
You have about a juz and a half left, or you have memorized?
No, memorized the juz and a half.
Okay, mashallah. La, bi'idhnillah, you will inshallah soon say inshallah. I have a juz and a half left, inshallah, and then after inshallah. And close, and soon you'll say I completed the whole Quran, inshallah ta'ala. Can you tell me now what's the process that you are using in this juz and a half that you have memorized? How are you revising it in this hour? Are you giving yourself like an hour a day for revision?
About half an hour to an hour per day.
Okay, so what does this half an hour or hour consist of, inshallah?
Usually, alhamdulillah, I've started using Tarteel app and just, going through basically and just without, with the memorization function and seeing what mistakes I have. And then, later in the day, trying to go over the parts where I had mistakes maybe and see if I can correct those mistakes. MashaAllah.
So I assume you have the premium feature, do you?
Alhamdulillah.
Very good, mashallah, very good, because it helps, to be honest, more. You have much more options to benefit from, to be honest, mashallah. I recommend everyone to try and use the app, inshallah ta'ala, in your revision. It really encourages one to revise, to be honest. Very good. So you said you use the app reading, and then you marks obviously the mistakes and things, and you go back during the day to check on those mistakes, did you say?
Yes.
Is that all you do?
Yes, for revision, that's my current process.
Okay, and how solid is your revision, if I may ask, of this juz and a half? How strong is your memorization?
Not as strong as I would like it to be.
So if I was to give you any ayah from that juz or juz and a half that you memorized, or if you were to be tested, would you be able to continue or not?
Certain parts, yes. There are certain parts within that juz and a half where I'm a little bit shakier.
One way I just remembered, actually, Tarteel AI have now a filter on Instagram that you can use. Go onto their Instagram page and go onto their filters and try out the new feature they have, where it tests you in a random place in the Quran. You could choose, I think, beginner, intermediate or expert level. And if you put, it will test you on certain ayahs, and you will be asked to continue the next ayah. So maybe it will be a good way to encourage you to strengthen your hifz as well. But what I would say to you, my brother, the process, I would say, of you in half an hour or an hour of a revision, it must be continuously focused on what you are reading. A lot of times phone call, message, or we get distracted with a lot of things. You must really have a fully focused hour, I would say, minimum of revision a day. Minimum, أخي الحبيبي. يعني half an hour I think is quite short. So you should try to give it an hour, I would say. And this juz and a half, to be honest, I would say ideally you should revise it every day, because it's not a lot. It might seem huge for you now. If it's weak, you'll be like, what? I do a juz and a half every day. Once you have it solid, you will see it so easy, as they say in English, a piece of cake. And of course the Quran is above all of this. So I would say is to sit and try in parallel. So if I ask you, how many pages or can you revise per day?
I think, Wallahi Shaykh, I think if I try, I could do the juz and a half per day.
If you can do the juz and a half a day, then you should make it for you fard. Just like your 5 daily prayers, you should make this portion of revision for you as an obligation for yourself, that you do not leave it whatsoever. If you came and the day passed and you haven't, sacrifice an hour of sleep, sacrifice chilling, sacrifice football, sacrifice anything, so that you can, inshallah ta'ala, get that portion done per day. And every time your memorization increases, that new memorization gets put straight into the line of revision straight away in parallel. They have to work in parallel, and then it will be solid. From day one it will be solid. It will never be weak, inshallah. Is that clear?
Yes, Jazakumullah khair.
وإياكم. May Allah bless you and reward you, inshallah ta'ala. We have, I think, our next caller, inshallah ta'ala, and that's our brother Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Shaykh.
How are you, ya Muhammad?
Alhamdulillah. How are you, Shaykh?
Alhamdulillah, very well. May Allah bless you and reward you. And where are you calling us from?
North London, Shaykh.
MashaAllah, a Londoner.
Yeah.
Allahumma barik. Londoners are the best, man. Come on, no?
Yeah, 100%.
I'm only joking, mashallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us all from the closest of people to him, ya Rabbil Alameen.
Ameen.
Muhammad, what's your question for us today?
So my question is, I have 2 questions. How does one escape the whispering of the Shaytaan that draws you away from memorizing the Qur'an and makes you change your intentions for the goods of this world? And any tips for someone who is leading Taraweeh for the first time?
Have you memorized the Qur'an?
No, I just started my Hifz journey in August, and alhamdulillah, I've memorized almost 3 juz.
Since August till now, you've memorized 3 juz?
Yeah.
MashaAllah, that's very, very good. And what has made you want to lead Salah?
My love for Qur'an, honestly, that's what it is.
طيب, then inshallah we want to together, me and you today, work on that love for the Quran and make sure that that love is with the right way and intention.
Yeah.
I would advise you personally, if nobody has offered you to lead, don't lead. Don't jump the gun, I'm not, unless of course there is like all young brothers that are leading. Okay, lead, alhamdulillah, it will help, but you really need to take things step by step, because what happens and tends is that you may end up leading one day. Allah blessed you with a beautiful voice or something, and people, unfortunately in this day and age, and especially in the UK and in the West in general and the whole world, to be honest, they gas people up too much. let me speak yani the slang, you know, they really like fanboy somebody, okay, his voice, oh, your voice is so, and they big you up in a way that does not help your intention and heart. And then what happens, you start to believe this stuff and you start to be like, I want to lead, and people start pushing you onto platforms when you are not ready for the platforms, and that delays you in your progress and in your core goal of memorizing the Qur'an and the reason for memorizing Qur'an. And then at one stage later on in life, when you are like so embarrassed that, wait a second, I need to memorize the Qur'an because people think I've memorized it and they're making me lead, then you are doing it not with the same drive and intention and as you did before. So don't always, yani these social media platforms and any other platforms and any, you know, platforms where you are on a stage or something are things that one should run away from until they are given the tazkiyah from their teachers, and they never ask and seek it. If it comes, it comes. And even then, not everything that comes you take, inshallah. I really advise you this. I know it might not be the thing that you want to hear. What I want from you, Muhammad, is to try and attend the halaqas that we run. We run them in West London, in Parsons Green, West London Islamic Cultural Centre, in Fulham. Very importantly, every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. There are brothers like yourself that are in the journey and beginning journeys, and some of them, or a lot of them, are ahead of you, and some are even behind you. Come, mix with them, see them, and you will learn with us, inshallah ta'ala, and you will realize that the Qur'an has to be seeked in the correct way, and that love that you have for the Qur'an should make it should be a type of love that will make you really value it and know that it's something so honorable, and you should only you do that it suits it. Don't make it something that is materialistic or cheap that anything or anyone can do. No, it is something, subhanAllah, that's sacred and it is honorable. Allah described it as that, and He says, وَإِنَّهُ لَكِتَابٌ عَزِيزٌ subhanahu jalla fi'ulah, وَإِنَّهُ لَكِتَابٌ عَزِيزٌ, and indeed it is an honorable book. So make sure you have this type of vision and drive with the Qur'an, and don't be just like many brothers, unfortunately, and sisters that are falling into it, just following that it's like a trend it's become, you know. No, we want to take it in the right way. We want to make sure we are not jumping the gun, because when you jump, you know, the ladder and skip steps, it becomes, you become very weak. Some people, when they skip these steps in seeking knowledge, they may reach sometime or be, oh, this guy's famous, he's a sheikh, a da'iyah or something like this, and very famous, so many followers. But the reality that he deeply knows, and the ones that are close to him, that his core is very weak. He has no strong base. But when you take it step by step, your base will be very solid and strong, and your heart is worked on, and you won't be as weak yani, as you may be at the stage you are at now. And that's why you need to seek the teachers that will help you and give you that tazkiyah and that purification and tarbiyah in the journey of learning Qur'an, and not it just being like a materialistic 1-to-1 20-minute session a week or something like this. That's going to be of no benefit, inshallah, yani, or very, very, very minimal benefit.
Okay, barakallahu feekum, Shaykh.
You're going to promise me you're going to come to the halaqah, inshallah, yes?
I'll try my best, Shaykh. My mom's
You
allowed
have
me.
to. We have brothers that come from North London, West London, East London, from all over London, inshallah. So come with them, inshallah. Come once, you'll find one of the brothers that come from there, and you'll start to go and come together, inshallah. May Allah bless you and reward you, my brother Muhammad. Okay, brothers and sisters, we have our next caller.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. I just wanted to stop the pod for a second to tell you about something that's genuinely changed my life. And I feel I can speak about it because it's changed my life. And it's not just another promo, but something that I actually believe in. And that is the Memorization Mistake Detection feature from Tarteel. So if you have the Tarteel app already, you'll know that one of the key features that really makes it special is that you can blank out any page of the Qur'an and then tap the microphone. As you recite, it fills in the ayat. And this is great if you're revising a surah that you already know, or if you want to start revising a surah and you can test yourself making the page visible and making the ayat invisible. Now, the great thing about memorization mistake detection is that it goes a step further. It actually detects your mistakes when you make them. So the mistakes it currently detects is if you say the wrong word, if you miss a word, or if you say another word. And now it also has tashkeel mistakes. So if you say a kasra instead of a fatha or a dhamma instead of a kasra, it will pick up that mistake and it will flag it for you. This is great because me personally, I used to recite to family and I would ask them to hold the mushaf and then I would recite to them whatever I'm revising that week. And what would often happen is one of two things. Either I have to do it when they're available, not just me, so I have to wait until somebody's available. And the second issue was that when I'm revising a surah, the pace that I'm revising it at, the person might not pick up a mistake that I've made when they're reading through it. And so Tarteel fixed both of those issues. I genuinely use it all the time for my revision and I feel like you guys would get benefit from it too. So if you haven't tried Memorization Mistake Detection, it is a premium feature of Tarteel. I think that you would benefit from it greatly. Check it out. That's tarteel.ai/pricing to check out all of the premium features that you get with Tarteel Premium. But there's a whole world of advanced features and advanced AI waiting for you on the other side of that premium. So head over to tarteel.ai/pricing. And before we go, if you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe. All right, back to Sheikh Musa.
Assalamu alaikum ya Khalid.
Wa alaikum assalam.
How are you, my brother Khalid?
Alhamdulillah, how are you?
I'm very well, jazakallah khair, barakallah feek. Where are you calling us from, Khalid?
From West London.
From where, sorry?
West London.
West London, mashallah. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum ya akhi Khalid. And what's your question for us today?
How do you think is the best way to start to read the Quran more fluently and with the tajweed?
طيب. Inshallah ta'ala, my brother Khalid, jazakallah khair for your question. Inshallah ta'ala. You need to, bi'idhnillahi azza wa jal, try and start the journey of Quran, like I said in one of the previous episodes, by learning the articulation points of letters first. Number one, to try and benefit and learn from the articulation points of learn the articulation points of letters. Where does each letter come from? And straight after that, alongside it, straight after it, you learn what is known as sifatul huruf, the attributes and characteristics of letters. And we gave an example previously and said that because letters and knowing where they come from and the exact exit and organ that you're going to be using for that letter is not enough. You must bring the attribute or characteristic or sound that will accompany that letter in order to make it pure and clear and you or the listener hearing it. And I gave an example of the word ahad in the Quran. If we say قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ ahad, I'm touching the articulation point of the letter dal, which is the tip of the tongue with the root of the upper teeth. But you cannot hear the dal. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ ahad. I'm touching, but there is no dal there. You know I'm touching something, and because you know the ayah, that's a dal. But that's not a dal, that's not a pure dal. The correct way is to say, in this case, there is an attribute that arises here, which is qalqala. So you say ahad, that bounce, and which is an attribute I gave on that dal, made that dal apparent in this case when it was sakin, non-voweled. So it's so important that you learn this with a teacher that will teach it to you in theory and then in practice, and attend and sit with teachers and attend halaqas like we have. You said you are based in West London. We have in southwest London in Fulham, Parsons Green, a halaqa that we run every Tuesday and Thursday at 6 p.m. in the mosque there. So try and join us, inshallah azza wa jal. Where there are many brothers like yourself that are learning. Some are the more advanced, some are beginners, some are maybe even behind you, so that you will all be together encouraging one another to learn and benefit and take this knowledge further on, insha'Allah ta'ala. Jazakallahu khairan wa barakallahu fika ya Khalid. And with this, my beloved brothers and sisters, we will not take any more callers that have questions, insha'Allah ta'ala, but I'd like to, inshallah, mention just one thing, since now that Ramadan is over, and that we are in the importance of continuing to be steadfast after the month of Ramadan. It's important, my brothers and my sisters, that we try to stick to the good worship habits that we built in Ramadan, the ibadah. We don't want to be Ramadani Muslims. We want to be Muslims throughout the entire year and living as good as we can. And what happens in Ramadan and the difference between it and other times of the year is just that the same actions we're doing throughout the year are happening in Ramadan, but they are just multiplied by 10, 20, 30. Okay? So the recitation of the Qur'an, I want us all to make a promise we will never let a day go by except that we open that Qur'an and recite. If you were reciting 10 ajza a day in the month of Ramadan, then decrease that to 9, 8, 5, 6, 4, 2. But don't really cut everything out, my brothers and sisters, because number one, it's a sign that your ibadah isn't accepted when you just drop everything and go back to the old ways. Number two is that you're gonna subhanallah just become weak, and that effect of Ramadan is gonna have it's not gonna have any effect anymore on you. But we wanna be of those that are gonna be steadfast, and we're gonna be continuing those worships even if it decreases a bit, but we make sure they are there. Make sure, my brothers and my sisters, that you are consistent in every look at the ibadahs you are doing in Ramadan. Reciting Qur'an, giving charity daily, making dua daily, praying the night prayers daily, being kind to your parents. We want to try and make sure all of these things are the same. But for example, the kindness to parents, that has to stay always high. But for example, you're reciting a lot of Qur'an, decrease it a little bit. I don't want to say to you decrease it, but make it something that you can be consistent with. But you do not let a day go by without doing it. Same thing with charity. You gave £1,000 charity a day, give £1 a day. I'm giving you a big difference, but just make sure that worship is happening. And you try increase it always. And then when the next Ramadan comes, you increase it. وهكذا, inshallah ta'ala. We ask Allah to keep us steadfast, and know that the sign or your steadfastness and continuation of doing worships that you were doing in Ramadan after Ramadan is a sign, bi'idhnillah, that your ibadah was accepted in Ramadan. And when you are not going back to your old ways of sinning and bad habits that you had before Ramadan, you're not going back to them after Ramadan, then also this is a sign that inshallah your ibadah and your worship and your dua has been accepted in the month of Ramadan bi'idhnillahi azza wa jal. With this, my brothers and sisters, we will move on to the last part of our episode for today, and we have a Hifz with us on the line, and I believe that is our brother Danyal. Assalamu alaikum, brother Danyal, can you hear me?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Yes, I can hear you, alhamdulillah.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah, Shaykh. How are you doing?
I'm well, and I miss you.
I miss you even more, Shaykh.
Allah yahfadak barak feek. طبعا Danyal, mashallah, is one of the brothers that has memorized the Quran recently, and he is one of the students we have in the halaqah with us, mashallah. May Allah bless you and reward you, Danyal, for giving us your time and joining this episode. Danyal, if you could please tell the brothers and sisters with us, inshallah, a bit about yourself. Maybe tell me your age, and of course Danyal is calling from London. Tell us your age, and when and what age did you start memorizing the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Bismillah, the mic's yours.
Bismillah. So I started, I'm 22 years old. I started memorizing around the age of 7, I would say. So this is when I moved to the Middle East.
MashaAllah.
And yeah, so I was born in London, and then when I was around 6 years old, I moved to the Middle East. And
where specifically did you move to?
I moved to UAE, so Sharqa specifically.
Okay, MashaAllah.
Yeah, and so over there in school we would have Quran class like you have, maths, English and whatnot. So I would memorize over there. To be honest, actually, until I finished school, so that was 12 years of schooling, I only memorized around 8 ajza, so not that much when I was in UAE.
Okay, until the age of what was that, sorry?
Until the age of 18, so from 6 to 18, or 7, yeah.
7 to 18, roughly 11 years, 12 years.
Yes, roughly around 12 years.
Okay, and you only managed to memorize up to, or 8 ajza, you said?
Yeah, so from Nas to Yasin.
So was it like a slow program, or was it just like, why did it take that amount of years to memorize 8 ajza?
To be honest, I think because we'd have Quran class maybe around like 4 times a week, and I think Allahu A'lam, maybe partly myself, I wasn't as not
Quran driven.
I wasn't as driven, yeah. Or when you're in school, you're a bit, you mess around. So Allahu A'lam, and maybe the teachers weren't as harsh on us. Allahu A'lam.
Okay, Jameel.
So yeah,
okay. And then when you got to 18, is it when you came back to the UK?
Yeah, so I came back to the UK and I started my first year of university.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't find anyone to memorize Quran with, so I just did it myself. And alhamdulillah,
Mm-hmm.
I think the good thing about the school is that I developed kind of my habit of just reading and memorizing by myself. So
MashaAllah, very good.
So after my first year, I managed to do up until Surah An-Nahl, so about another 7.5 ajza.
MashaAllah. In 1 year, you did what you did before in 12 years. Which is, by the way, very good. I'm just saying it's just so that we could, have a map of your journey, inshallah, in our minds.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. And then a year later, I found someone to memorize with, but I noticed
Okay.
that the 7.5 ajza that I did myself was a bit weak.
Which is
So
typical
I
as well,
basically,
also sometimes, yeah.
yeah, so I basically spent that year strengthening that, and I only memorized an extra maybe one juz. I think I did it till Surah Ra'd, so maybe an
Okay.
extra.
So you spent a
Yeah.
year solidifying the 7 or 7.5 ajza that you memorized in that previous year.
Yes.
And also memorized an extra juz, maybe.
Yeah. Yes. And then from my third year up until from around November 2022 to November 2023, then I
Which
started
was
with
your
someone
third
else.
year in the
Yeah.
UK.
Yes, my third year. I started with another student at university because with my other friend we were a bit inconsistent, so I wanted to do a bit more. So I
Okay.
found someone else. And alhamdulillah, then I finished the rest of my 13.5 ajza or 14 from November 22 to November 2023. So that was in my third year of university to the beginning of my fourth year.
You completed in 1 year the remaining half of the Quran almost.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Well, mashallah. Very good, very good. Allahumma barik. Alhamdulillah. So in 2023, was it December or November you completed?
November.
November, mashallah. Allahumma barik. Very, very good. Allahumma barik. So around 4 or 5 months ago? 4 months ago, yeah, mashallah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Allahumma barik. That's great, wallahi. Allahumma barik. Tayyib, alhamdulillah. And tell us now, how is your revision?
I think overall, alhamdulillah, it's good. Some bits are stronger. So the last, I would say, 10 ajza for me, because I memorized them a long time ago, they're a lot stronger than, say, the first ajza, like
10 in the
Baqarah,
Quran,
Imran,
yeah.
yes, in the Quran.
Yes, mashallah.
Yeah.
And do you have a program of revision you are doing now?
Yeah, so with my teacher that I finished with, so now I'm doing a revision khatma with him, and the aim I try to read a juz to him maybe not every day, but every other day.
Okay.
And alhamdulillah, he's very strict. So if I hesitate too much, or I make maybe even in one juz 3 or 4
He will
or
ask
5
you to
mistakes,
repeat it.
yeah, he'll ask me to repeat it.
طيب, and you, okay, so that's the program you have with the teacher. Do you have any program with yourself daily?
Daily, to be honest, not
Or it's
really.
just preparing yourself? Okay. It's very important, Danyal, very, very important that you have a daily program between you and yourself of solidifying and going through a pattern of revision. If your hifz is strong enough to fit in 2, 3, 4, 5 ajza a day, do that. If it's enough to fit in 1 juz a day, do that. If it's enough to fit in half a juz a day, which is not too good, but do that. Whatever you can do with a bit of a push, you do it consistently, every single day, and you do not miss a single day, inshallah ta'ala. Very, very importantly, inshallah ta'ala.
Yeah.
Because it's very important that you do not rely on anybody else, and you rely on yourself when it comes to this stage. That doesn't mean you stop reading and learning and benefiting. No, you benefit others, have a revision program, but you can't rely on that person. That person might not be here tomorrow. And then what are you going to do? You're going to fall back and feel less driven? No. So that's why you get into a habit that you make it an obligation for you. You're a person of Qur'an. I'm going to live with Qur'an, whether I'm myself, whether I'm in wherever I am, until I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
MashaAllah. Danyal, do you have any tips or advice or anything you would like to share with us that you thought or think can be a benefit for the other brothers and sisters that may watch this episode and learn from your journey, inshallah?
I think firstly is to try and make the most of the people around you and of your circumstances, like wherever you are. So me personally, because I did most of my hifz here in London, before coming to London, I would have thought it's going to be very difficult because I'm going to like a non-Muslim country, and subhanAllah, starting university, I think maybe I don't have time. But if you truly make that sincere niyyah to Allah that I want to memorize the Qur'an, or how much of the Qur'an I want to memorize, and you actively seek and try to find people, then like without even, like, I don't think I'd finish at this point. but Allah will open the doors, I think, for you in ways that you can't see.
Very well. Very, very good advice, mashallah. May Allah bless you, Allah, ya Danyal. Anything else you'd like to share? Or is that it?
I think that's it, Sheikh. I don't have anything.
Inshallah, may Allah bless you. May Allah reward you, Danyal. It's lovely speaking to you and lovely hearing your voice, subhanallah. And I'm speaking to you currently actually from the place that you started. You memorized your 8 ajza.
Oh, mashallah.
So, but inshallah, hopefully see you soon, inshallah, azza wa jal. May Allah reward you, Danyal, and thank you for taking the time out to join us and to share with the brothers and sisters the benefits and the stories and things from your journey, inshallah ta'ala. With this, my beloved brothers and sisters, we come to the end of today's episode, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to unite us always in the best of causes in this dunya, and to reunite us again in the highest levels of the Jannah in the Akhirah. Allahumma ameen. I will leave you all with the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until we meet next, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.